lifestyle related content. Tonight's video is going to be 6 Christmas stories of wonder and love, as the article title itself calls, but it's basically 6 Christmas stories, just wholesome stories that I thought I'd ramble and read to you in the good theme and holiday spirit of Christmas. As you can tell, I'm wearing one of these beautiful hats that says I've been good for Santa. I think I've been a good boy. We'll find out. But yeah, I just thought, what better way to celebrate the holidays than just by some great stories. So I hope that you're doing well, that you're resting and cozy, snuggled up in a blanket, or maybe just listening to this to be productive. But sit back, relax, and just listen to me as I tell you this, or a few of these stories, okay? So let's just get into it. This actually is from an article from Reader's Digest called 6 Christmas Stories of Wonder and Love. I actually haven't read all of these yet. I skimmed it and it seemed good, but we'll read it together, okay? And let's get into story 1. It's called "'Tis Better to Give." And here's a quote. "A mother is a person who, seeing there only fell 4 pieces of pie for 5 people, promptly announces she never did care for pie." That's from Geneva, Jordan. I knew I was not supposed to be quite so excited. I was too old for that. At age 11, the oldest and my mom's grown-up girl, I had to keep my cool. I was in middle school after all, but every chance I got, when I was alone, I checked each present under the tree. I read every tag and felt every package, guessing at the contents within. I had examined each gift so often that I could tell which present went to which person without even looking at the tags. It had been a tough year for my family. Whenever my mom looked over at the tree and scattered presents, she would sigh and warn us, "There won't be as much for Christmas this year. Try not to be disappointed." Christmas had traditionally been a time for my parents to spoil us. In years past, the presents would pile up and spill out from under the tree, taking over the living room. I had heard the phrase, "Giving is better than receiving," but thought that whoever had said that must have been out of their mind. Getting presents was the whole point. It was the reason I couldn't get to sleep on Christmas Eve. On Christmas morning, we eagerly waited in the hallway until Dad told us everything was ready. We rushed into the living room and let the wrapping paper fly. We made weak attempts to wait and watch while other family members opened their presents, but as time passed, we lost our self-control. "Here's another one for you," said Mom as she handed me a package. I looked at it, confused. Having spent so much time examining the presents before Christmas, I recognized this one. But it had not been mine. It was my mom's. A new label had been put on it, with my name written in my mother's handwriting. "Mom, I can't." I was stopped by my mother's eager, joyful look, a look I could not really understand. "Let's see what it is, honey. Hurry and open it." It was a blow dryer, though this this may seem but a simple gift, to me it was so much more. Being an 11-year-old girl, I was stunned. In my world, where receiving outweighed giving by light years, my mom's act of selflessness was incomprehensible. It was a huge act. Tears filled my eyes, and I thought in disbelief how much my mom must love me to give up her Christmas so I could have a few more presents. Wow. I have always remembered that Christmas fondly. It's such an impact on me. As an adult with children in my life whom I adore, I can now understand my mom's actions. I see how she was not giving up her Christmas, as I had thought, but was finding an even greater joy in her Christmas, because giving truly is better than receiving. My mom's simple act meant the world to me. These Christmas miracles will restore your hope for the holidays. I like that one. That one. Stories from Jennifer Yardley Barney. The next one is the Christmas spirit strikes again. Then there's a quote under it. Blessed is the season which engages the whole world in a conspiracy of love. By Hamilton Wright Maybe. I always dreamed of pulling off the surprise prank of a lifetime. You know, the kind you see on TV, or laugh about late at night with friends. Well, thanks to a little determination, some luck, and a generous helping of Christmas spirit, my dream became a reality. My family is Canadian, although my sister moved down to Australia a few years ago to study speech pathology. She was graduating just before Christmas, but due to my own scholarly schedule back home, I would not be unable to make it down in time for her graduation. She was understandably disappointed, and I felt guilty that I wasn't able to be there for her on this most special of occasions. While I was talking to my supervisor the week before my sister's graduation, the conversation drifted toward Christmas plans. When I mentioned that I would be missing my sister's graduation by less than 48 hours, she commented, "Well, if you want to go, I have no problem with it, so go ahead." I couldn't believe my luck. I nearly jumped for joy. "Just make sure you get permission from admin," she added. My heart sank. The administration of my school was notorious for denying any sort of time off requests, and last minute pleas would undoubtedly draw nothing but ire. I almost didn't bother asking because I knew it would be a waste of time, and I didn't feel like a thorough chastisement. Plus, I knew the answer already. No. But something in me decided to try, just in case. Maybe it was the hope that the Christmas spirit would somehow permeate the administrative office at this time of year. When I returned home to find the associate dean's reply in my inbox, I steeled myself for disappointment. I gritted my teeth, opened the email, and started to read, and reread, just to make sure I understood approval. I could actually go. I rubbed my eyes. There must be a mistake, but no, I was flabbergasted. There was no logical explanation. I couldn't believe my luck. The only explanation I could possibly come up with was that the Christmas spirit had been lurking in the heart of my associate dean when she'd read my request. Immediately, I called the airline. Mysteriously, even during the busy Christmas season, I was able to change my ticket to arrive the day before my sister's graduation. With news this fantastic, I was bursting to tell my sister, but fingers on the dial, I paused. Wouldn't it be so much more fantastic if I could surprise her? I pictured myself just showing up, knocking at her door. What a state of shock she would be in. I laughed gleefully to myself as I pictured her face when she opened the door and saw me. She loves pranks and practical jokes of all sorts. Pulling off a prank like this would certainly be the ultimate gift, and if I were successful, she'd probably be more excited about my unconventional arrival than even my attendance at her graduation. Slowly, the idea evolved in my mind. For a surprise of this grand of scale, I needed a much more dramatic arrival than just a ring of the doorbell. For me, Christmas surprises are epitomized by presents, or at least boxes. What if I could arrive in a box? I started to plot. Oh no, he did not. I started to plot, then brilliance struck, getting delivered in a box to my sister's house by courier. I knew if I pulled this off, my presents at her graduation and my grand arrival would be the best Christmas present I could ever give my sister. No one appreciates a prank like a prankster. Although I was leaving in less than 72 hours, I frantically jumped on my computer in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, and started Googling courier companies. One of the first I came across, and the only one willing to go along with my Christmas surprise, was Couriers Please. At first, the branch manager said no, pointing out that Christmas was their busiest season and he couldn't spare a courier for this rather unorthodox request. But he suddenly and inexplicably warmed up to the idea and actually volunteered to dress up and deliver for himself. The Christmas spirit strikes again. Upon arrival in Australia, the manager met me in a full uniform, but that wasn't all. He'd brought one of his couriers, plus a Couriers Please van, along for the ride as well. Then, even had a reinforced box prepared for me that they'd already tested at the office. I thought it would be easiest to walk up to the doorway and then jump in the box while they rang the doorbell. But no, they insisted my sister might see me through the window, and they certainly didn't want to jeopardize my Christmas surprise. Instead, they parked a few hundred meters up the street, where they loaded me in the box and carried me all the way up to my sister's, where they rang the doorbell and announced that they had a delivery for her. I couldn't see the look on my sister's face as she opened the door to the couriers with a surprise delivery, but I could tell from her voice that she was more than a little perplexed. Soon morphed into utter disbelief and shock when the box was opened, and she saw her older sister sitting inside smiling up at her. She was at complete loss for words, and I will never forget the look on her face as she opened those flaps on the box. It was such a gift to be able to attend my sister's graduation and to show her my love by giving her the most unique, unconventional Christmas present in the history of our family. It was a memory both she and I will cherish forever. It also served as a lesson for me. Never, ever, 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 ever underestimate the power of the Christmas spirit. It can move hearts, minds, and yes, even people in boxes. From Heather Thompson. I love that one. Okay, story number 3. It's called Sharing a Legacy of Love. And the quote, compromise, if not the spice of life, is its solidarity. It is what makes nations great and marriages happy. From Phyllis McKinley. And here's a story. loves and always doted on her husband, daughters, and grandchildren. 4 weeks after, my sisters and I would meet for dinner, laughing and crying over old memories. When it came time to sell the home my mother loved, we spent many days in disbelief, clearing out her belongings. I remembered reading in Anne Lander's column years earlier that discussed how many siblings fight bitterly over the possessions left by their deceased parents. I thought, how lucky we are that that will never happen to us. Somehow, we easily and peacefully divided Mom's belongings, furniture, jewelry, and household items among ourselves and a few charities. Although I expected there might be a tug of war over her paintings, that never happened. Pretty good considering there were 5 daughters and 4 grandchildren. No conflicts, squabbles, or disputes at all, until we discovered the old nativity set. Nativity set in the box in Mom's closet. I remembered Mom telling me the story about how she acquired the manger. I might be butchering these, by the way, but you know what I mean by the manger. An old friend who did carpentry work gave it to my mom and dad as a Christmas gift when they were first married. My sister, Eileen, however, remembers it differently. Mom told her she found the grace in a garbage can belonging to Miss Bingham, the elderly lady who lived across the street from us. Unlike some of the ornate versions found in today's stores, this manger was crafted from dark wood and completely unadorned. Just a roof, a floor, and a railing surrounding it. Though beautifully crafted, there was one flaw. One side of the double gate in front was lopsided. Mom filled it with 3 figurines to start: Mary, Joseph, and the baby Jesus. For many years after, she continued to add others: the wise men, shepherds, angels, and animals. As kids, we loved the annual rites of the Christmas season, especially taking the nativity set and decorations down from the attic and carefully putting them in place. When the sisters all married and grandchildren came along, they added new characters of their own to the stable, including a set of 3 little pigs. After Mom's death, when the nativity set emerged, no one was prepared for the battle that would follow. My sister, Joanne, was the first to claim the manger, insisting it was the only one of Mom's possessions that she really wanted. Her wish was granted, but when my niece Mandy found out, she called from her apartment in California to voice her objection. She was clearly emotional as she repeated a decades-old promise made to her by my mother. Nanny promised me that I could have the nativity set when she was gone, she cried. The nativity set belongs to me. Joanne felt strongly that as Mom's daughter, she had first dibs. Neither she nor Mandy would budge. When the disagreement showed signs of becoming a full-blown family feud, we realized something had to be done. Enter the family arbitrator, my sister Eileen, who somehow saw through the fog. But as Mandy's mother and Joanne's sister, could Eileen handle this dilemma fairly? Temporarily, she set aside the emotion of the dispute and thought logically. The nativity set was just a wooden stable, not an irreplaceable masterpiece of art. The beauty was in the eye of the beholders. The perception of 2 people coveted a simple item owned by someone they loved. Couldn't a copy be created? Of course. She would order the wood from the lumberyard and get someone to build a second manger. The following day, Eileen went to Center Millwood and stood in line behind several contractors ordering lumber from a young man with a crew cut. He was wearing a tag with his name, Brett. When Eileen's turn came, she had to shout over the sound of buzzing saws. She pointed to the nativity set in her arms and told him the story, explaining that it was causing a major rift between her sister Joanne and her daughter Mandy. Brett took the stable from her, held up with one hand and laughed. They're fighting over this. Yes, Eileen explained. I know it's crazy, but it was my mother's, and they both loved her very much. Is there any way you could measure and cut some wood so we could have a duplicate build? Brett said, leave it here. I'll see what I can do. Eileen left, hoping he could come up with a minor miracle. That's what it would take to satisfy the two women in her life that were squabbling. A few days later, she received a phone message saying that her order was ready. When Eileen arrived at the hardwood store to pick up the wood, she couldn't believe what she saw. Two identical staples sitting side by side. Brett had not only cut and measured the wood, he had built a second manger. Wow. I know you wanted them to look the same, so I added a couple of dings and flaws that were in the original. Hope that's okay, he said. Sure enough, the new stable had the same lopsided front gate. Okay, Eileen said in tears. You have no idea what this will mean to my sister and my daughter. To the entire family, I don't care what this costs. Your work has saved the day. That will be $3.75 for the materials, Brett said. When Eileen insisted on paying him more, he said, I didn't do it on company time. I built it at home, so I wouldn't charge you for the labor. He pointed to the new manger. I hope this helps your family have a merrier Christmas. Oh. That's so sweet. Eileen left Brett with a large tip and a big hug of thanks. When she got home and called Joanne and Mandy about a creative solution, they were very happy and extremely relieved that the problem had been resolved. One phone call later, Joanne and Mandy had agreed that Joanne would take possession of the new stable as well as some of the old figurines, including Mary, Joseph, and the infant. Mandy would keep the original just as nanny, I promised. And that story is from Kathy Malia Levine. It's very cute. Story number 4. It's called Catch. And the quote is, we do not remember days, we remember moments. By Cesar Pavis, The Burning Brand. Following Christmas dinner, my family was relaxing around the kitchen table. We had all enjoyed traditional turkey, sweet potatoes, lightly glazed with brown sugar, and a final wedge of pumpkin pie topped with a dollop of ice cream. The good cooking smell still lingered. The oven remained warm. My sister, our chef, was baking in the compliments. My sister, our chef, was basking in the compliments. Fabulous meal. I really could eat another bite. Everything was wonderful. Dad had risen from his chair and was contentedly standing nearby. My nephew, never one to sit still for too long, began dribbling his new basketball around the table and throughout the kitchen. Upon nearing Dad, he stopped, almost uncertainly. With shaking, wrinkled hands, Dad had reached out for the ball. He did not speak, and the boy, confused, looked up and over at us. It took some convincing, but the ball was gingerly passed over. I watched my dad closely to see what he would do. A playful smile appeared on his face. The twinkle in his eyes shone brighter than any Christmas lights. Holding the ball and reaching forward, Dad bounced it on the floor, then got it. This action was repeated, nodding approvingly. He then turned towards our assembled group, gently tossing the ball away. Dad began a game of catch. us around through eager pairs of outstretched hands. Cries of "over here" rang through the warm kitchen. Dad's active participation in this game was remarkable to me, since he had advanced Alzheimer's disease. Wow. This dementia had robbed him of many memories and the recognition of people, places, points in time. Despite this, Dad clearly recognized the ball and what you could do with it. In my younger years, playing with Dad was rare. To his credit, Dad worked hard and provided up for us. He was very private and never showed much emotion. His game of choice was chess, which he did eventually teach me how to play. As an adult, I had become a caregiver and watched helplessly as Dad declined. Connecting moments between father and son had been few and far between before I took the basketball. I'm not sure how long we played catch. Watching the clock was not important. Dad gleefully led us until he began to tire. What I do know is that our game ended all too soon, and it was time to face the reality of dirty dishes piled high on countertops. The moment, though, will certainly last forever. On this Christmas, Dad gave me a special memory, one that I will always treasure. That story is from Rick Lauper. Wow. That is really magical. What do you think? Okay, on to story number 5. It's called A Christmas Present Delayed. And the quote, "Having a sister is like having a best friend you can't get rid of. You know whatever you do, they'll still be there." By Amy Lee. I was 10 the summer my dad helped me buy my first 10-speed bicycle from Father Allen. I put up $60 on my grass cutting and snow shoveling money, and my dad put up the other half. I would pay him back in installments over the next 6 months, although it was the kind of bike you'd expect a priest to have. Dull, silver, slightly worn, no baseball cards in the spokes. It was my ticket to the adult world. I spent that summer and autumn riding as if to put Greg LeMond to shame. My sister Liz, a prisoner of her 5-speed and banana seat, never had a chance to keep up. We'd always been stuck with hand-me-downs from our older brothers and sisters, a few of whom had notoriously bad taste in bikes. Now, however, I was able to ride to every corner of town, sometimes even as far as the beach. In those heady days, before one acquires a driver's license, a good bike is a magic carpet. Just before the Christmas deadline to pay my dad back, we were hit with several snowstorms. This allowed me to shovel enough driveways to pay off my debt. I was now officially a bike owner. It was a feeling unlike any other. It's important to note that while my mom and dad were fantastic parents, they couldn't be trusted with the awesome responsibility of buying appropriate Christmas presents. They were too quick to pass off gloves, sneakers, and shirts as quote-unquote presents. And while we might say a prayer over the baby Jesus in the manger on our way to church, he seemed too busy at this time of year to leave presents under the tree. We outsourced our request for the really good presents to Santa. For her family of 7 kids, my mom developed a system in which she decorated the outside of 7 large boxes with different types of wallpaper. We each had our own box that contained 6 or so presents, and we'd close our eyes and reach in to grab one when it was our satisfy my dad's naval sense of order. That's funny. The downside was we opened one present at a time, so everyone could, quote-unquote, appreciate each other's gifts. Neither Liz nor I appreciated the system because we went last. After the obligatory oohs and ahs, each of us held up our present for family review, a process that averaged about 5 minutes or so. This meant Liz and I had to wait about 45 minutes between each present, so patience was in short supply. When one of us pulled out a belt or a package of underwear, we seethed the entire time. My dad, a master showman, liked to keep a few of Santa's better presents for the end. On that fateful Christmas morning, he gave me a used portable record player. I was ecstatic. I was finally untethered from the family stereo that all of us fought over. Alas, my elation was short-lived after my dad called my sister to the kitchen. "We have one more gift for you," he said as he opened the door that led to the garage. There, on the steps, stood a brand new 10-speed Schwinn. I didn't hear her screams of joy. All I could hear was the sputtering engine of the lawnmower, the endless scraping of the metal show snuffle on concrete. I'd endured far too many hours of indentured servitude for my used bike. That Santa could give Liz the sparkling machine less than a week later was a sign that he was losing his touch. Could Mr. Claus be putting something in his food? Could Miss Claus be putting something in his food? I slumped onto the floor. My 10-speed chariot had turned into a pumpkin in the time it took my sister to hop on the gleaming leather seat. "Let's go for a ride, Rob," she sang, my dad holding the bike upright as she put her feet on the pedals. Too snowy to ride," I muttered, pushing the record player further away from me. The symbolism seemed lost on my dad. I seethed for the rest of the day, then the rest of the week. My dad was not someone to whom we complained about presents, not if we ever wanted to see another anyway. Santa always seemed to lose interest after Christmas, rarely accepting returns or trade-ins. That left the baby Jesus, but he wasn't answering my prayers. I could tell because Liz's bike had yet to crumble into a pile of rust flakes. Talk about sibling rivalry. Okay. After a few weeks of watching me pout, my dad finally pulled me aside. "Everything okay?" "It's not fair," I whined. "I worked so hard for my bike and it's not even new. Then Liz gets a brand new bike as soon as I make the final payment. She didn't have to do anything for it." My dad smiled. "She didn't have to do anything for it because it's not really for her," he said. And then he left the room. What did he mean? I didn't want her bike. It had the girly bar that sloped down to the ground and a flowery white basket on the handlebars. I could turn it in for a new set of action figures, I figured, but she'd been on it every day since Christmas. No way they'd let me take it back now. I eventually got over it, chalking it up to Elvira. The naughty and nice can be cumbersome. By spring, Liz and I were riding all over town together now that she could keep up. Sure, I'd lose her on the steep slopes, but I always let her catch up when we went downhill. Initially, the youngest children in a large family form a bond out of necessity. Older siblings can be taxing, and there are only so many locked doors one can hide behind. Sometimes you need someone else in the foxhole with you. I relate to that a lot. As we grew, Liz and I became true friends. We biked down to swim at the local pool, then put in 7 miles to take the free down tennis lessons together. We played secret parties when my parents went on trips and played a game of who can leave less gas in the tank when we finally got our driver's license. I relied on her to put me names to faces when we were at parties, and she treated my best friends as her personal dating service. We ended up at the same college and even graduated the same year. Still, I wasn't smart enough to figure out what my dad meant until years later. That brand new bike was not a gift for Liz, it was a gift for me. He'd given me the gift of my sister's company, the ability to stay together rather than drift apart in the face of my ability to travel. He gave me my best friend. It's a gift I've treasured ever since. Oh my god, that got me emotional. That's so good. I don't know about you, but I relate to that. That's how I feel about my sister. The story is from Robert F. Walsh. Okay, on to, I believe, number 6 in the last story. If you're still with me right now, make sure you leave a bike emoji in the comments, okay? Leave a bike emoji in the comments. Okay, number 6. It's called Pepper's Last Gift. And this quote for this is, "Dogs' lives are too short. Their only fault, really." By Agnes Slay Turnbull. This one might wreck me. We'll find out. Okay. Whatever life threw at us each year, come Christmas, our family had one constant tradition. Our dog, Pepper, opened our presents for us. When our beloved black lab mix had been a gangly adolescent puppy, we had only given her unbreakable gifts to unwrap, things like pajamas and steering wheel covers. She proved to be so careful that we soon gave her any gift that was inedible. Every time Pepper found the seam in the wrapping paper with her snout and held the present down gingerly with her forepaws. Her front teeth pried up the lip of paper with the utmost care, and then she removed each inch of wrapping paper before stepping back to lie in the midst of our gathering. She never bit or scratched the gifts themselves. Talented dog. Friends and relatives who joined our family celebrations never believed Pepper could be so delicate until they witnessed her talents. Watching our sweet dog unwrap gifts always warmed the holiday, which was often a little bittersweet because college, studying abroad, or work commitments often kept my 2 sisters and me away. One year, everyone made it home for Christmas together. I was back from Ireland, Casey flew in from Arizona, and Kara visited from college. Mom's jubilance kept her busy baking cookies for all of us. Our Christmas season should have been perfect. It couldn't feel perfect, though, because Pepper's health was deteriorating. Her life had already been longer than we expected. She was 14, and yet her mind was still sharp. Her enthusiasm for life made us feel better, but her body could not keep up with her spirit. She'd already shown the usual signs of deafness and stiffness. That year, her hips and back legs started giving out on her. We knew we would soon have to make a difficult decision. It was likely Pepper's last Christmas, so we decided to make sure she enjoyed it. On Christmas Eve, we gathered around the tree to open an early present. We each took a turn, and then called Pepper to open one more. But her tangled legs could not navigate the boxes and shredded wrapping paper on the floor. She stumbled over the obstacles, and soon she disappeared into the next room. She crumpled back to the floor as out of the way as she could get. We were heartbroken. Could Pepper even participate in her last Christmas? Pepper stayed on the periphery of all our holiday activities. Throughout the day, we gave gifts but did not feel very giving. We shared stories said. But there's none left, Mom reminded her. Cara jumped and left the room. We heard her opening drawers and cabinets in the kitchen. She returned with a box of dog biscuits, scissors, and a roll of tape. Hand me the green paper, Cara told me, pointing at a large sheet at my feet. She cut a small section from the paper and wrapped a single dog treat in it. She held it up as if she had just struck gold. Now there's a present for her. I knelt on the floor next to Cara and wrapped another dog treat. Casey and Mom joined in too. Soon we had 4 elegantly wrapped dog biscuits in a row on the floor. We cleared the floor of a discarded wrapping paper. We tucked our legs under us as we perched out of the way on the fumed furniture. Go get Pepper, we urged Mom. We all bounced like eager children. Mom went into the next room. You want to open a present, girl? She coaxed. In a moment, Pepper stuck her head into the room. Her ears were fully perked with anticipation and curiosity. She skidded on stilted legs to the row of presents. She sniffed all 4 in order and looked back and forth between us. She never had such a wide choice of gifts before. Soon Pepper selected her first Christmas gift as she nimbly turned the present with her forepaw, just like she was a spry young dog once more. She tugged every last scrap of paper off the dog treat before she chewed it with her customary grace. Our family swelled with glee. Pepper licked the last crumb on the floor. She eyed the remaining 3 presents, then turned to Mom as if asking, May I please open another one? Go ahead, girl, Mom encouraged. For the next few minutes, Pepper opened each of her Christmas presents. While she did, she reminded us of the sheer joy of being together. Our family felt whole, not because we were in the same room, city, or country, but because our loved ones bonded us together. In the new year, Pepper let us know it was time to call the veterinarian. Her passing, while tearful, was peaceful. In its own way, her passing was also a celebration of life because she gave my family so much love and laughter. Long after I forgot each of my presents, I still cherish Pepper's final Christmas gift. She taught me that no matter where we spend the holidays, and no matter what the passing year brings, the smallest act of heartfelt giving can unite our family through our love. For me, that knowledge is the longest lasting gift of all. Feel like a kid again when you read these adorable letters to Santa. That will still warm your heart. That last sentence is just an add-on, but this story was from Zach Hively. And yeah, that's all the stories from Reader's Digest. Let me know what your favorite story was down in the comments below. Yeah, they're all really sweet. I think my favorite story probably was the Alzheimer's one, just because it's the really small things that, I don't know, I just love that one. Let me know what your favorite was. I just love how it's so easy to take for granted the small things, but small things are what life's all about. So I hope that this brought you a little bit of Christmas joy this month, whether you celebrate Christmas or not, whether you're with family or not. You are so loved and you are part of this family. If you're still with me, give this video a thumbs up, comment down which story was your favorite, leave that emoji if you got to the emoji part, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing and hitting the bell notification so that you're informed on my next videos. But yeah, if no one's told you, you are not alone, and so many people love you, and I think it's important, this holiday season can be filled with lots of love, but it also can be hard for a lot of people, and if you're having a hard time, don't be afraid to reach out to people. A lot of people want to support you and be there for you. You just have to give them the chance to show up. So give them a chance to show up, text them, and yeah, you're so loved, and I appreciate you being